G'day everyone, Buck up in far north Queensland on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Hey listen, this afternoon I'm going to do a billy tea in a homemade billy. Now for the last couple of years you've probably seen that I've been running that there. It's got a bloody my old army cup in there. I might use that to Savo. Why not? I thought it felt a bit heavy. There's an old Cups Canteen Steel, old army one. Anyway, Greg Palmer said, Buck, when you come down to Victoria, you're not allowed in unless your billy's got a spout. So I went out to I think I got this at BCF, and I bought a billy with a spout. It's been well used it on that 6-month trip, and always take it out there. And it's not a bad billy, it's just a little aluminium one. But it does the trick. It's got a lid on it. It's got a spout. Palmer said, got to have a spout on it if you come into Victoria. I've done a few swing arounds with this one, and when you do, you lose a bit of tea out of the spout and everything. So anyway, that's the Victorian style billy, guys. So having a spout is an advantage, I must admit. But I thought today I'm going to do a good old fashioned billy tea in a homemade billy, or a billy can if you want to call it. So I think billy, is it billy or billy can? Billy can was something you used to, when you used to milk the goats and that, the milk went into a billy can. They used to call that a billy can. I think a tea billy is just called a billy. But a billy can was something you used to, if you used to milk the goats and that, which Poppy used to have goats and that, we used to have to milk them for milk back in the 70s. I'm going back to the early 70s, mid 70s when I was a young kid. And that was called a billy can that the milk went into, or if you milked the cow or whatever. But for a tea billy, the old cow cockies, they used to do it nice and simple. They used to make their own. And I thought, how am I going to make my own billy? Well, I went into a cafe here the other day in Innisfail, and the girl in the kitchen, I said, do you get those big cans that you get beetroot and all that? And she goes, yeah. I said, can you save me one? So she did. She put it through the dishwasher, and I've given her the wash myself. So here it is here. I've already made it up. And here it is here. This is the Queensland one, Palmer. There you go. There's my homemade billy. That is an old beetroot can. Now, inside, there is some sort of lining on the inside. I don't know if it's like a small plastic lining and that they all have, but I've already boiled this up and it's fine. It boils the water fine. I'd prefer if it was just all tin on the inside, but I wasn't going to spend 3 hours trying to scrape out whatever that lining is, that white lining there. They put it on all the vegetable cans and that. So that's just something that you get at a local cafe, like a whole, we get your beetroot and your pickles and all that from the wholesalers in one of those big cans. I'm not sure how, is that 4? No, it wouldn't be a gallon, it'd be 2 or 3 litres in there at least. So what I did is I drilled a hole in there with the drill. Do you think I could find some bloody thick gauge wire around the house? I couldn't, but what I did is one of my old paint cans had a thing on it. So what I've done is used a handle off a paint can. You just get some thick gauge wire. I'm not sure what gauge that'd be. Get some thick gauge wire and there's your handle. Bend her up inside so it can't come off. This can come out, but if you keep the pressure on it, it won't go anywhere. So there's my homemade billy can, guys. I'm going to do some boil her up in a minute. I'm going to make an old backyard billy tea the old fashioned way. And yep, I'm going to swing her around my head. I'm going to get the swing going. Going to use tea leaves, Narada tea leaves. I've still got them inside. So there you go. Put it in the comments. What do you reckon's the best billy? The Victorian one or the Queensland one? The old cow cocky one? I don't know. What's Timmy Bates? Does Timmy Bates use a bloody billy with a spout on? I don't think he does, Palmer. I don't think he does. Now, speaking of Greg Palmer, everyone, there's a couple of them out there. One's normal, one's mad. The mad one, he always used to say to me, Buck, where do you keep all your camping gear? It might go missing at night. Well, I think Palmer has found out where I live, everyone. And the reason is the spike of my Aussie Campfire Kitchen, it's gone. Cannot find it anywhere. Don't know what I've done with it. I think Palmer's been here. And the other day, which made me think Palmer has found out where I live, is my pop-up kettle's gone. I've lost that as well. So my camping gear's going missing, everyone. I think Palmer's found out where I live up here in far north Queensland. I'm concerned. So I had to go and buy a bloody new Aussie Campfire Kitchen spike, which you'll see in a minute. That's what I'm going to do this up with today. I'm going to hang the billy off the billy hook on the Aussie Campfire Kitchen. We'll go out, get the fire going. I'll fill this up with water just out of the tap here, and we'll boil her up, and we'll show you how to make a backyard billy tea. We'll do the swing, we'll do all that type of stuff, and we'll see how it turns out, eh? Righto, see you out at the fire. So if you haven't guessed, this is my favourite way to cook, everyone, over the Aussie Campfire Kitchen. There's the new spike. I lost the old one. I do not know, I must have gone camping and drove away and left it in the ground. If it's in the shed, I cannot find it. I have ripped this place apart looking for that. Anyway, I had to get on and buy another one, and at the same time, I got another grill. So the basic Aussie Campfire Kitchen comes with your spike, your hot plate, guys, the solid plate, and a grill. I found the plate, it was a little bit heavy to be lugging, so I thought what I'm going to do is buy a second grill. So I've got 2 of those now, and it also comes with all your, that's the camp oven hook, there's a billy hook, there's an accessory rack, there's little pull lift things and all that. It's a great kit, and well priced too for what it is. All made there in Wonga Beach in far north Queensland by Tony and Taryn and the boys, and they're absolutely fantastic. You'll see the full setup in full swing in a few weeks, guys. For my 60th birthday, Roz said, what do you want to do for your 60th? And I said, I want to go camping, and I want to do it in a good old bush setting. So we're going out to O'Brien's Creek Campground, about 4 hours west of Innisfail. Hopefully she'll be dry out there, and we're going to do some real good old bush, take the caravan, but we've got a fire out there. I'm going to have the Aussie Campfire Kitchen. We're going to do lots of cook-ups with a camp oven, roast lambs and all that type of stuff, nachos. I've got some stuff going on in my head. Going to be some good cooking clips coming out of there, and we're going to actually be out of the backyard, guys, out camping and doing it. And then later in July, I've got a boys trip coming up with Russ and the boys, and the Aussie Campfire Kitchen will be making an appearance there as well. And we're going up to Cape York for that one, so that should be good. Up to a place called Lakefield National Park, which is actually on the southern side of Cape York. So looking forward to that one. Some good stuff coming up. So let's get the old bloody Army Hexies up and running here. Get the fire going, and once the fire's roaring, we'll get the billy over on the billy hook. That's actually a camp oven hook. It's got a larger collar, so you can hang a camp oven off there, everyone, so which is good. I just use the camp oven hook. You use the billy hook if you want. We'll swing the billy around. The good thing about it is everything swings around. Everything swings around on the Aussie Campfire Kitchen. You can swing it around, swing it away, adjust the height. You know, if your fire's a bit hot, you bring it up. If it's burns down, you can lower it down. It's absolutely brilliant. That's going, that first hexie, and I've got another hexie over here. I'll see if I can light him up too, eh? The old Rigididge Army Hexamines, which I got from a bloke in Townsville. He said, Buck, I've got some of Dad's old hexies if you want them. I said, yeah, mate. I said, I use them all the time. They're brilliant fire lighters. They really are. The old Rigididge Hexie tablets. We had a army story for you. I was only a young digger at the time. We're doing infantry minor tactics out bush once. And we had and I still remember his name, Vince Nissen, his name was. He was the scariest sergeant in the world. Infantry, ex-Vietnam, been to Vietnam in infantry. So here's Rafa coming out to say g'day. And we were patrolling along, and we're a bit bunched up, and he's training us how to do infantry stuff. We're only in signals corps, so we weren't qualified infantry guys. But every soldier in the Aussie Army had to know the basics, guys. So Vince Nissen was there as directing staff, and he's teaching us how to patrol properly. And we're a bit bunched up, and he goes, I'll leave the swearing out, but he goes, spread out! He's I can take yous all out with a hexie tablet. Instead of a grenade, he said I could take yous out with a hexie tablet. So we must have been bunched up. Isn't it? Now I'm going back to the 80s there, guys. Isn't it funny how you remember shit like that? Anyway, later in that exercise, he was sneaking around in the bush as the DS, and I was in a gun pit, and we didn't know who it was. We thought it might have been the enemy coming, because we had proper enemy out there, not real enemy, blokes pretending to be the enemy, and the boys are going, there's someone down the creek line. So, supposed to challenge them. Who goes there? Halt, who goes there? Well, I didn't do that. I just stood up and brassed him up with blank rounds. And he goes, who's that? F-wit. And it was me. And he comes storming up out of the creek bed, and he ripped me a new one because I didn't do the proper challenge. So he said, I could have been a friendly and whatever. So, but the boys were going, brass him up, Buck. Brass him up. So I did. I stood up with the old SLR and brassed him up. It wasn't the enemy. And I still remember that one. He was a very unpleasant man when he was angry. Jeez, I missed that shit, eh? Good days. Anyway, we'll let this fire get going. Stuka dive bombers coming over. Buck's filming, Stuka dive bombers out. Every time without fail. As soon as that fire gets going, we'll swing him around, eh? We'll bring the water to the boil. Got the tea leaves here. The old Narada tea. This tea here, guys, is actually growing up here in far north Queensland by Narada tea. You can get it in Coles and Woolies in a green and white packet. Narada tea, very good. So there you go. We'll let that fire go and we'll swing the billy around, eh, and boil that water up. Rightio, so a bit of fire there at the moment. I'll swing him around. Can even lower it down if I want, but that'll be fine. Let the billy sit over the fire. We'll bring him to the boil. Almost tempted to cook over this tonight too. Should bring a few steaks out or something. Be the go, eh? If you are cooking, guys, that's where these grill plates, you just swing them around. You put your steak straight on the grill if you want, or put your skillet on there if you want to cook bacon and eggs. Put your skillet on the thing, swing it over the fire. You can adjust the height, just bring it up and down. This is my favourite way to cook, is with the Aussie Campfire Kitchen. Just a spike in the ground and all your stuff that can swing around. I've got two of the grills now. I've got the hot plate if I wanted to use the hot plate. Absolutely fantastic. Righto. I'll come back when the water starts boiling, eh? Hey, I just went inside to grab some sugar and a spoon and that, and I saw this near the coffee and that. I didn't realise we had it. Roz got this, she said. This is some tea leaves from Coffee Works at Mareeba, which is in the Cairns, or the Atherton Tablelands, or the Cairns hinterland, guys. Town called Mareeba up there. And it's a must-go place. It's called Coffee Works. I've been there once, and you go in there, you can have meals, and they've got chocolate and all different coffees from around the world, and that you can sample all the different coffees from around the world. If you're ever up in Cairns, far north Queensland, go up to Mareeba. There's a few things to do up there, let me tell you, and Coffee Works is one of them. And I found this in there. It's unopened. Rainforest Dreaming Pure Organic Tea Leaves. Brew time in 6 minutes. So I'm going to use those. It hasn't been opened, so I'm going to throw those in the billy when she heats up. There we go. The billy's starting to get some black on the bottom of it. That's what you want, a black billy, everyone. A well-used billy. Water's starting to, yep, it's definitely starting to warm up now. That fire's cranking, so got to always bring your water to the boil. And for all the Canadians and Americans out there, if you ever make a cup of tea and you microwave your water, that is very un-British of you. It is definitely a no-go and a do not do. Never microwave your water to make a cup of tea. Okay, you've got to boil it up in the jug or in the billy. So Coffee Works, special teas and coffees from around the world. I'm looking forward to trying that. I hope it's not hope it doesn't taste like that Earl Grey stuff. I'm not a fan of Earl Grey tea. I don't mind the English breakfast and just normal tasting tea, just black tea. Not into green teas either, just quietly. But www.coffeeworks.com.au, and they will post coffee and tea, so they'll post out. So get on their website there, guys, coffeeworks.com.au, up there in Mareeba. And if you're ever up there, make sure you go and do the tour through there, and you can try all the coffees from Papua New Guinea and Indonesia and all the places around the world, Brazilian coffees and Colombian coffees and all that, and absolutely fantastic. It was a really nice place to go from memory. Coffeeworks.com.au. So anyway, we're going to try some of their organic rainforest tea, and I'm trying to work out where that was actually grown. If I was a betting man, I would say that Narada tea grows that, and they probably buy it off Narada. I know there's a tea plantation about 15 minutes up the road from where I live, and it's called Nucephora tea. If you ever go up the Palmerston Highway on the way to the Atherton Tablelands, guys, on the left hand side, Nucephora tea, and they grow tea for Narada, and Narada process the tea and that, and you can see they've got the machine that flat tops the tea leaves off and that. I had a chat with a guy there one day. It was very, very interesting. having a chat to him about how they grow tea, how they pick it, how they process it and all that, and it's really good. So anyway, geez, that fire's got some, she got some sting in her now. That is going full bore, and luckily I've got Lukey Reed's Tassie Devil glove there because I think I'm going to need it. It did have a plastic handle on there, that paint drum thing, and I thought that's the last thing you want around a fire is a bloody plastic handle, so I ripped that off with the side cutters. There you go, that's why we wore bush hats in the army, so you can pick hot stuff up. Start seeing a few bubbles forming now, good stuff. Righto, the water's come to the boil. One thing I did forget to say, the fantastic thing about these Aussie Campfire Kitchens, if you're cooking with a big fire out bush or whatever, if you want to keep your water warm and not let it go off the boil on that, you can just swing it around and just keep it on the edge of the fire, and that way it keeps the water warm. And if you want to reboil it, you can just spin it back over the fire. It doesn't take as long to boil up, but that took a little while. Obviously, if you have a billy with a lid, it's going to boil quicker, guys, but that water's boiling away nicely now. So what I'm going to do is raise it up a little bit, swing it around, and we're going to put the tea in. Rightio, so I'm just going to lefty loosey, raise him up a bit, swing him around, away from the fire, tighten him up. Rightio. Let's see how this tea goes. Rainforest tea from Coffee Works in Mareeba. That'll blow away, no doubt. It's all vacuum sealed, so it should be nice and fresh. Hasn't been opened before. Come on, Bucky, you can do it. Need some fingernails. Oh, it looks like it's that green tea. Whew. She's a bit florally. Oh well. Should I do this or should I do... I don't know. That tastes a bit Earl Grey, like florally type tea. It's not a black tea. It's like a no, it's like green leaves, and they're very, very aromatic. That's a big word for me, aromatic. I don't want to stuff that whole bloody billy up there. So what I'm going to do, swing that back around, and I'm going to go and get me black tea leaves again, guys. So. What I will do, is I'm going to take that out camping with me and we'll try it. Ross probably likes that type of tea. That's the, it's very, yeah, a lot of flavours and that in there. You can really smell them. I just prefer the old black tea. I'm a bit old fashioned, so I'm going to go and get the black tea, eh? Rightio, so I'll give the black tea a go. I'm not a fan of that, that stuff. I thought it might have been. Anyway, we'll give it a go out on our next camping trip. I'm sure Ross likes that type. So what's the old thing? Spoon for every person and a spoon for the billy. Now I've got a fair bit of water in there, so I'm going to put in 1, 2, 3, 4 nice big spoons. There goes that Harley Davidson again. Rightio. With a clean stick or a spoon, long spoon, give it a stir. Oh yeah, look at that. Beautiful. Give it a good stir. And then you're probably thinking, Buck, you're mixing all the tea leaves up. No, that's what the swing's for. We'll do the swing and hopefully that settles a lot of the tea leaves down to the bottom. That's the idea behind it, but I've got a strainer there anyway. And if any get in your cup of tea, you just strain them out with your teeth. There you go. Yeah, a lot of them are starting to settle down now. So we'll let that brew. You don't want to just throw them in and then pour it straight away. You've got to let your tea brew, everyone. That's the idea about it. That's why it's called a brew. You've got to let your tea leaves brew. When you make a coffee, you let that brew too. If you're doing it through the coffee grinds and all that, that's where the thing brew comes from, okay? In prison, a brew was a totally different thing. That was an alcoholic beverage the prisoners used to try and make out of fruit. And every now and then they'd sneak one through us too, and you'd come in and they'd all be pissed. Brews were a totally different thing in prison, let me tell you. Righto, we'll let that swing away and brew up and then we'll come back, eh? If you saw my brain ticking over then, it was because I was thinking, and I was going to say something and I couldn't remember what it was. A couple of things. I tell a great story on my last my billy cook up, on my billy brew, when I was out at O'Brien's Creek. I'll put the clip in the description, guys. Tell a fantastic story from my childhood, about when Dad was he used to run the watch house out in Cunnamulla, out in West Queensland, and back in the early 70s I'm talking, and I used to help Dad feed the prisoners, and I tell a wonderful story about Dad making billy tea and how he used to swing it around his shoulder all the way down to give the old Aboriginal men a feed and a cup of black tea, and that in the old primitive watch house back in those days. So if you want to hear that story, it's pretty good. I'll put the link in the description. The other thing too is, I've said this on another clip too, I remember 1995 doing the Kokoda Trail, the Kokoda track, lugging our packs up there, one of the hardest things I've ever done. There's some big mountains up there, let me tell you. So I remember one day I was on the side of a mountain, I was out of energy, guys, so I pulled the hexie out, boiled some water up, and I made a cup of black tea just with a tea bag, and I put a heap of sugar in it, and I had a really sweet cup of black tea on the side of this mountain. And I tell you what, it was almost like I'd had a Red Bull or something. It really sparked me up. Obviously the sugar in that, but a cup of sweet black tea really gave me some energy. I still remember that. I just thought, my God, I was drained, and after a half-hour break, cup of sweet black tea, I was back into it. I was going back up that mountain. So it's good. That's what the old bloody cattlemen and the drovers and that used to stop, boil a billy, have a big cup of sweet black tea, and that'd get them through the day. And you know, if they'd have a cook up and that at night, they'd always wash it down with a cup of black tea. Didn't have milk and that back out then. I'm going to put milk in mine today, but yeah, the old billy tea, you can't beat it. So that's been brewing for 5 or 6 minutes. She's still nice and hot, let me tell you. So here we go. This is where it can go pear-shaped. The swing, let's hope she holds on. It should do, unless that metal rips up there, but we'll see how we go. Trick to swinging a billy, and the idea, as I said, is to try and, the swinging doesn't mix it up, guys. It's to settle a lot of the leaves to the bottom, and most of them have already sunk down there by the looks of it anyway, but we're going to do it with a swing. So you always got to wind it up before you start going, otherwise you can lose it. So this is the trick to the billy swing, everyone. Do a couple of these ones, and the idea is to try and, the inertia keeps the tea in the billy and you don't scald yourself. This could be a good blooper. Nothing above me, here we go. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's as far as I can count. And I'll tell you what that did. When I stopped then, I looked down and all the tea leaves, when I stopped, it actually mixed the tea leaves up. So I must have done that wrong, everyone. Let's have another go. Nah. So there you go. I've just killed that myth there. When I stopped swinging, I looked down, all the tea leaves were going through. Truck going past. But anyway, that's just killed that myth. Put it in the comments. Did I do that wrong? That actually mixed the tea leaves up. It's supposed to settle them to the bottom of the pot. So I'm just going to let that settle now. Let them settle down, and then we'll pour the tea. But that swinging around, it might look good, but I think all it did was actually mix the tea leaves up more. I'll let it settle for another couple of minutes. Righto. We'll see how we go here, eh? Put him in the strainer. There we go. So that's not too bad. Look at the tea leaves in there, minimal. Absolutely minimal tea leaves in there, that's what you want. Now I don't normally have sugar in my tea when I'm at home, but out bush I like to put a bit of sugar in my tea, so I'm going to put a spoon of sugar in, not too much. There we go, put a nice spoon through there, give her a mix up. And I'll put a bit of milk in too. There we go. Give him another stir, and I'll tell you what, there's no tea leaves in there. Righto, taste test coming up. Righto everyone, time for the taste test. The old bloody Narada black tea. Oh yeah, that's nice. I do like tea with a bit of sugar in it. I try and stay away from the sugar at home, but when you have a bush cup of tea, throw some sugar in, eh? Oh, that's a good brew, everyone. Good thing about these cups canteen, you made a brew out bush in the army, that'd do 3 people. You just used to hand it around. Just keep handing around, 3 of yous, all throw a bit out of your water canteen in there, boil her up, and you'd share a brew out bush. Sit in the bottom of a gun pit and do a brew up and just share it between yourselves. Oh boy, and we're going to wash it down with a Scotch finger biscuit, but chocolate coated. Rafa said, Dad, I hate chocolate coated Scotch fingers. I'm not allowed to have any because there's chocolate on there. I did bring him out a Scooby snack, but so he thinks he's getting something. There you go, buddy. Yeah, how good are these? The old chocolate coated Scotch fingers. Bloody beauty. Can't beat it, eh? What a beautiful afternoon. Sitting here, Sunday afternoon. Go and watch the footy soon. Beats boiling the jug up inside, eh? Good excuse to start a fire. Get the Aussie Campfire Kitchen out. Now, I know I'm in my backyard, guys, but give it a few weeks, you're going to see this thing out there for real. Roz and I are going out for about 5 nights. Bush camping. Off-grid. We haven't done off-grid camping in the caravan yet, so it's going to be a good test there to make sure everything's good to go without 240. But I'll have the Jackery with me, so that'll be fine. They're beautiful, eh? Sorry, mate, you can't have a chocolate. No good for doggies. Speaking of doggies, how good is Rafa's book going, everyone? We gave $2,000 away last night. Actually, it was 2.5. I miscounted. I've given $2,500 away, so 500 will come out of my own bank account, but I don't care. It's all for charity. 12 people got $250 last night for their local animal shelter. I'm just so proud of what this community's doing, everyone, for charity. What a great bunch of people it is. They're getting behind me, and bloody just really proud of what we're achieving at the moment. If you do need a Rafa book, a kids safety thing, get on, email me at p.rogers, R-O-D-G-E-R-S 65 at bigpond.com. Order 1 or 2 Rafa books, I'll post them out to you. $15 a book, $10 of that goes to animal charities, guys, so how good is that? And my next clip that you see, I'll be doing a presentation of $350 worth of food to Paws and Claws, my local animal shelter here, and a $500 cash donation to the local wildlife carer, who also happens to be the guy who runs the animal shelter for the Cassowary Coast. So that's going to be good. And that's all from the sale of the Rafa books. How good is that? So anyway, I'm going to sit back, stop jibber jabbering. Oh, that's a good cuppa. Can't beat a good cup of tea, eh? Bloody beautiful. Anyway, guys, take care, be good to each other. Catch you again soon, eh? Get out the backyard, make your own billy tea. Palmer, that's a real billy, mate. No spouts up here in North Queensland. Catch us later.